Hey.
All right.
So yeah, Kozan is just finishing up his hotkeys, and then he says that he is ready.
The game. We're starting. We're starting the game.
We actually started the game.
Starting.
Oh, guys, we're playing StarCraft today.
StarCraft 2 is happening.
I thought this was a talk show, man.
Woo! All right. Here we go.
Tempo talk show. Oh no. Okay.
Into game number 1 of avilo versus Kozan here on Abyssal Reef.
Yep. It's basically a commercial break from our talk show, but we'll be back with the talk show right after this, guys.
All right, and spawning over here in the bottom right-hand corner for Rival Gaming, we have the blue Terran Kozan.
Game hold.
And of course,
of
course, this game would not
make
health
little
bars.
settings. Hey, that's actually avilo doesn't actually play with health bars.
Yeah,
so
I know.
You should just be like, what? Yeah.
XD.
Yep, this is it.
Yeah, I think we should ask Kozan to play with no health bars.
Yeah, it's only fair, right?
Yeah.
No handicaps, no anything like that. Oh, man. So, remember, he is using a different account for it. You can see my boy's a 10. Look at him. Yo, look at that posture right there. That posture. That's what I'm talking about, man.
All right, well, apparently it takes more than a couple seconds to get your health bar sorted out. So here we are.
Gotta make sure they're right. Them good health bars, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't...
You don't want to use the team color, of course.
I mean, which health bar setting you use? Do you have them always on?
No, I got the one where, like,
select,
they're not on. Yeah, no, it's on select damaged. Yeah,
yeah.
damaged.
I use always.
Just all the time? I feel like, I don't know. Like, it's better information for you, but, like, when you're streaming and stuff, I feel like it's too much clutter, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think the players are ready. Here we go, back into the game for real this time with Kozan, our blue Terran in the bottom right-hand corner.
And in the top left-hand corner, the man, the myth, the legend, it is avilo.
Game hold.
Woo! Okay. Yeah, I mean, something's got to be going wrong.
There's always going to be, like, one little thing that you, in a setting. I know this all the time.
I mean,
like, anytime that I don't have my settings, there'll be one little thing, and you want to get it all done in the beginning. Rather than when you get into a fight and then you're like, oh, by the way, I actually don't have anything hotkeyed and I can't cast,
I mean, Kozan's got no depot started at 185 minerals, so I don't know if we'll need a remake.
Oh, man.
I mean...
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kozan, for being a hero.
Yep, I know. Look at that. Supply depot advantage. Oh, my God. avilo's in the lead. We back, baby.
avilo already showing a strong presence here in game number 1, getting his supply depot down on time.
Fast.
I mean, this is really the high-tier mech play that we come here for. And actually, he's supply block too. So both of their depots were late. Kozan's was just more late.
More late, yeah. But he has an excuse there.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, yeah, we are going to be going into most likely a mech versus, I would say, I don't know if Kozan actually has a lot of experience or comfort in the mech style. I would love for somebody to at least confirm that. Or
I mean, I can tell you I've played his bio only.
I've seen his bio.
I play only against his bio. I've played him quite a few times, and I think I've only played against his bio. So we've probably got some bio versus mech action, which is good. I think, it really allows you to compare the two styles. Mech versus mech can be a little passive and drawn out, so hopefully we won't get too much of that, hour-long turtle fest that avilo is of course best known for. avilo going with that double gas opening, getting down that real fast factory.
Yep.
Also went for the early scout even with this one base build, so he's really doing everything he can to be as safe as possible. Kozan, on the other hand, opening up with only a single gas, going to be looking for this natural expansion as soon as possible, and he does manage to get it down despite the harassment of the scouting SCV.
Yeah, the SCV was trying to be a bit annoying there, but he's just going to get on out of there because he does know that the Reaper should be out anytime. So, yeah, I like this, though. Going for the expand into the factory, so avilo obviously favoring the tech over that expansion. And have you seen what kind of openers he likes to do, whether it's, like when he gets that starport out, most likely, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the single Reaper followed by the reactor for Kozan. So pretty standard Reaper expand. We do sometimes see people go for the double Reaper.
Right.
Both are pretty common. And of course, avilo looks to be going with a Reaper Hellion opener followed by a starport. So going for that quick tech. You know, we may see Banshee, we may see Raven. You know, Raven, of course, some of Avilo's favorite. And we do actually, in fact, have an armory.
That's a really fast armory, yeah. So this would be pretty nice, yeah.
This is going to be a Thor drop.
Oh, man, that would be actually really cool if he puts that tech lab, yeah.
I mean, I can't think of what else it would be, but the armory seems a little late, right? You would think the armory would go down, like, right after the factory for that, but...
Like if he was going to try to go for some weird Hellbat thing, or... Are you talking about for the actual
drilling
Thor?
claws? No,
I don't know,
it's gotta be Thor, right?
Yeah, I mean... I think
it's gotta be Thor.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll find out soon enough. Kozan getting his star poured up. And he's getting the Cyclone for the defense, just making sure that he doesn't get caught. He did go for the expansion first, of course, right? So
he does actually throw down a scan. I'm not sure if that scan caught the armory. Looks like it did not. So Kozan going to be in the dark about this potential Thor drop that it looks like we're going to be seeing from avilo. Avilo not started an expansion yet, though. Kozan already, you know, with his natural CC orbital up and running. Starting to take a little bit of a worker lead that will, you know, only grow wider throughout the course of the game. Poking up here with this Reaper, he's going to see that there's no expand. I mean, Avilo is known for being especially safe with this expansion, so perhaps he could have been starting it on the high ground.
Yeah.
But we do, in fact, have a medevac out for a Thor drop, and
it's going
using that
down.
medevac boost before the Thor finishes.
Oh, man.
But our medevac will make its way across the map, accompanied by a couple Reapers and a Hellion.
All right, this would be pretty cool. Yeah, he did end up going for that second Reaper, so we'll see how he just bust up the front here. That Marine is actually a really good scout there, but he did not see the medevac with the Thor in it. And I don't think he has an idea as to what this is unless he's played it before, right? So
yeah, I mean, he's got a number of Marines and 2 Cyclones. With the Cyclones' new you know, faster lock-on against air units, I mean, there's a better chance that he'll be able to push back the medevac with just the Cyclones and the Marines.
Yep.
But generally, you know, you want to start getting Vikings and tanks out against this
Oh,
as fast
man.
as possible. But the Thor does move into the main, and 4 SCVs have already gone down.
Already, yeah. I mean, there's nothing aside from the Cyclone that can... Actually, you know, I guess basically the Marines could, but they don't have stim yet. But I was thinking about that could actually contend to trying to take that medevac down in time. And do you think that's enough damage in order to, you know, because, I mean, he did delay, of course, his command center until now.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I would say, you know, it's a good start. He's gotten 5 SCVs without taking
still
a
gonna
single
go
bit
too.
of damage on the Thor. Right. I mean, he's got to get as much out of this Thor as possible. This Thor is not, you know, this isn't a unit you build. Oh, and the Raven does get off the interference matrix, and the Thor will go down, and perhaps the medevac to follow with the Cyclones and Marines able to chase it down.
That was really cool, right? So I totally forgot about that, yeah. I know that they're, planning to change the Raven a bit more, but...
Yeah, they're actually planning to buff that ability.
That ability as well?
Yeah. That ability is going to get an increased duration potentially in the upcoming patch. But Kozan, of course, did lose a few workers, down to 36 to Avilo's 33, so not a huge advantage, but of course he is also getting up his third base faster, his extra infrastructure, like throwing down double engineering bay. But of course, Avilo has no interest in getting double engineering
Absolutely
bay.
not, no.
He is starting +1 mech weapons already.
Yep, and the third base is coming from him as well, and I believe he's building it inside of the main, but here we go. Liberator in the main. I don't even know if he's realizing that it's here because the workers weren't all evacuated. 6 of them are going to go down, and this Viking should be able to at least, go in. There you go, buddy. Going to be able to get it, so it's just going to be about getting whatever damage you can get done with it. But with the Cyclone's assistance, it is going to go down as well. So that was actually a pretty good little harassment there from Avilo. I did not expect that Liberator to get 6 kills just like that.
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
when you had the Viking and the Raven out.
Yeah, definitely helped even up the game a bit after that Thor draw died a little catastrophically. As you can see, I mean, of course, Avilo a few workers ahead. He does have his third a little bit later and also in his main. So I think economically we can say they're pretty close to even here.
Right.
But of course, you know, that's not necessarily what's going to matter in a mech versus bio game. It's going to be about who can use these, you know, unique unit compositions to trade a little more effectively. I think one thing about TVT that I've observed as a long-time Terran player myself is that it's often less about the unit counts and more about the way that you position your units. Because, you know, the tank is just such a core unit, even for a bio player. And if you're able to find strong tank positions, it can make up for a big macro disadvantage. So, like, being able to siege an expansion in a key location, or being able to use a choke and force your opponent to engage into it, those can be big tide turners if you have a macro advantage or disadvantage.
Yeah, I think it really is what makes TVT such a beautiful mirror matchup, and the reason why a lot of people like the mirror matchup in general. You know, when most people don't like mirror matchups that much, but you know, TVT does have this kind of magic to it when it comes down to positioning, just the way that the units do work. I mean, of course, there was you know, some time where it got a little bit sloppy with everyone just doom dropping each other, but you know, when you get back to that positional play, and especially when you are going to be using these mech units, I feel like avilo is definitely going to have to rely on that style here, because he is down in about 20 supply when it comes down to that army.
Yeah, but we won't be seeing a traditional mech army here. avilo choosing to stay on just 1 or 2 factories, and in fact, adding 3 starports with
wow. Okay, and the hyperflight rotors coming out here. That's going to make the Banshees go really fast, and opting to get it first before the cloak, even.
Yeah, I mean, 4 starport Banshee. I mean, that's something else,
rough?
right?
You sure this is not rough?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the Thor drop too, man.
That's what I'm saying, yo.
That's
like,
a rough classic.
What's going on? All right, cool. We under that sea, baby. Surprised I didn't do the intro for it when we came in.
We need the song, man.
The
Where's the song?
is always green.
We got a mule falling. Not a man or mule. Do not be confused. Coming over.
No, he's repairing the Raven. Yeah, very, very important unit. An expensive unit as well. So you usually don't want to just let that die for no reason when you could have just repaired it. So this is actually interesting. Kozan deciding not to push the issue because he does have that third base about to be mining. But, I mean, little does he know about this transition of avilo. I think he hasn't scanned already, so he has no idea. He might have seen the third at some point, but I don't think he knows anything about this Mash Banshee that's going to be coming. And
not at all.
Is it even going to really do it, though, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that he's got going for him is this third base has now managed to land, so avilo's ability to produce Banshees 4 at a time is not, you know, severely limited. We've only got 2 or 3 Banshees generally producing at a time. He does show a couple of the Banshees. I did hear them attack, so he did do some poking. So Kozan is aware that there are Banshees in the mix at this point. Definitely aware now.
Oh, yeah.
Still, so he's not going to be able to push in.
Okay. But it's still the delay. The fact that Viking is going to be able to try to get some shots onto that Banshee. Now, the tanks are also doing a really good zoning here because, of course, when the Marines try to stim in, the tanks of avilo are going to be able to shell away at the same time. Now, I mean, he's going to lose another tank if he's not careful. Sure, the Cyclone attack, it looks scary. It's like, but it's not as crazy as you would think it would be.
Yeah, so Banshee speed and an Infernal Pre-Igniter finishing up. avilo sneaking 5 Hellions into the third base.
Wait, but the Marines, what do we do? Oh my god, I think from the Hellions getting in there, he had no idea. And now Kozan is going to get cleaned up here because apparently all of his Marines walked into the tanks and they didn't even attack. They just move commanded. Like, hypnotized, man.
Cloak now finishing up for the Banshees as well, so they are going to be fully decked out with +1 weapons, Cloak, and Hyperflight Rotors.
Wow.
Going to be able to mess up a lot of Kozan's expanding, mining, etc. And he is continuing to produce Banshees, Vikings, and Hellions. A really interesting mech style here from avilo that we haven't seen too often.
It's actually kind of fun, to watch it, right? Like, it's definitely a much more fun style. You're like, look at how fast the Banshees go. And even Kozan is trying to get some kind of starport transition himself, but he's starting to lose a lot of workers, and he just can't keep up with the Banshees zipping around as he tries to split his army in the best way. He does get one of the Banshees there, but another one gets inside of the main, and they might even be able to take out the turret. They are going to go down. And with the scan, there's not enough anti-air here. The Marines are just funneling in one by one. And now they finally get the shot and might be able to take out that final Banshee, and it goes down. But that's more where she came from, as you can see.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
These Banshees just running everywhere and doing a significant amount of damage. I mean, one thing I will say is it does look like only about 10 workers have gone down so far. Kozan still on a healthy 63 worker count, but when you're playing against this mech style, especially with heavy starports, you do not want to be in this defensive position in the mid-game where your opponent is putting you on the back foot with these Hellions and Banshees. I mean, I will say that the Hellion Banshee style isn't quite as strong late game as the traditional mech, so avilo's going to have to start infiltrating more things like tanks, more perhaps a couple Ravens, even though they have a roll now. They're still Pretty useful in those large armies with those field drones and those interference matrices. But yeah, I mean, the Banshees are just gonna... Yeah.
This is mid-game, but he can't stay on it forever.
Right.
Oh, man. Banshees getting those SCVs ever so low. Now, if you look at the upgrades, Kozan does have his 2-2 on the ground for his infantry, and he also has +1 for his tanks, or I guess all of his vehicles, but...
Right.
You know, Avilo has kind of been neglecting some of his other upgrades. I don't know. It would be easier to read what he wants to go into for the late game if he was upgrading said upgrade, but...
He's just making command centers.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so what? Are we going to see...
the mass planetary fortress late game.
Yep, Neil Steel Flame.
Yeah, I mean, Avilo is in a solid spot here. The supply is even, but, you know, he's having a little trouble pushing back this army. It is going to be able to move into the third. Avilo does have the tools to deal with it, just needs to reposition his tanks and Hellbats.
Yep.
Got quite a large number of Vikings to go along with the couple Banshees that he has remaining for that air control. Actually, I'm not even sure if there are any Banshees remaining. Quite a large Viking fleet, though.
Yeah, there's one Banshee, but I have no idea where it is. Oh my god, another! Just into the meat grinder. I think that's the second time, but it tends to happen. I mean, it usually happens when Avilo's doing something on the other side of the map, but I just don't understand what that was, what the deal was, you know?
Yeah, it looks like the drop in the main was cleaned up as well, so Avilo taking a healthy supply lead. Of course, even more so in army supply. Kozan going up to almost 80 workers against this mech style. This is something that I've seen some other players do. I do prefer it myself when playing bio versus mech. You know you might not be as cost efficient, so you want to go for that higher worker count so that you can constantly trade without running out of money. And he is getting up that 5th base, but of course, Avilo, you know, making a couple CCs of his own, certainly doing pretty well, getting all his infrastructure and his army composition more towards what he wants it to be for the late game with these tanks and Vikings. I'm interested to see what Kozan's response is going to be, because, I mean, he's probably going to have to transition his unit comp a little bit too if he's not able to do any more damage.
Especially just in the way that this map works out, right? It's like,
right.
Avilo Reef, you're gonna go ahead and try to attack him on all these fronts, but you know, I mean, you're gonna be in a kind of a choky position every single time. So if you're gonna be sticking on to like Bio and straight up Marine Marauder, then you better be damn well with your drops, or I just don't know with all the turrets coming up. Yeah, figure out a way to get him completely out of position. Find that one weak spot that he has. Slowly pick away at his bases. Yeah,
he is trying to poke around the side a little here, try to find a weak point behind the 4th base minerals while he boosts the drop into the natural. One tank lands as well as some bio. And so as he moves up towards the 3rd, but it looks like a lot of units were taken out.
Yep.
But the drop in this natural has still gone uncontested so far. There are a couple Ravens. They will be able to disable the tank and potentially also the medevacs to prevent an escape. And the Banshees are coming over here to try to clean up. A few Banshees do fall, but it looks like this drop will be cleaned up.
Yep, a couple of more depots are going down, and he's also taking out the turrets in order to potentially go for another drop later on. So he wants to get rid of anything that would stop him from doing so, but geez, 20 workers went down during that.
Yeah, both between the natural and these couple tanks over by the 4th base. Kozan did manage to take out 20 workers, but I'm not sure how impactful that's going to be. With Avilo sitting around 150 supply, he's going to be able to remake these workers easily if he wants to, and if he doesn't want to, he'll just be able to use that supply for a bigger army.
Oh gosh, yeah. We're getting to that point too. He did make a lot of these command centers into planetary, so it's not like he's sitting on like that mass orbital style.
Right.
I think he only has 3 right now, so we'll see if he decides to make this into a planetary as well. But there is a point in Terran's life that they are able to just work mainly off of mules from a bunch of orbital commands, but we're not getting there just yet.
Yeah, we definitely see that much less often in Legacy of the Void. With the reduced minerals on the bases makes it a bit harder to kind of stay back and
just sit there.
Build up in there.
Absolutely.
Kozan with his own Viking fleet going to be engaging along with his bio. It doesn't look like the tanks are really in good position, so the Marines are able to assist a lot at taking out these Vikings. And actually, the Viking count has been absolutely shredded with Avilo going down to just a few Vikings.
Yep. That air control going to be going to Kozan. As Avilo even trying to take this base, I mean, I don't know if that's going to really work out. I guess the main army of Kozan is here is basically air.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of Vikings. I mean, he does have a few Liberators, but it goes to show, you know, the 78 worker count too does make it so that your army's not going to be that great, and you don't have a lot of room for it, but...
Yeah, and I mean, that's gonna really show its value at this point where the armies have been traded out. You know, Avilo looked like he wasn't rebuilding his workers right away. Perhaps was thinking towards his max army. But, of course, Kozan able to capitalize before Avilo was able to reach that max army and trade out for a lot of those Vikings. And now, with the air control in favor of Kozan, he's going to start building these Liberators. He's upgrading Liberator range, and being able to use that to push back the tanks is going to be absolutely huge.
Already taking out a few of those Ravens. They did get the Matrix up, but...
Yeah, it does look like Kozan's army on the ground is just not managing to break through. He does have this one Liberator still alive. It will be taken out by the Lonely Thor.
Yep.
But, you know, he's struggling to maintain a ground presence. I do think he's definitely got a significant upper hand as he's been able to maintain this air control, and the Liberators will eventually be able to push Avilo back. But it's taking quite a while.
It is, yeah. And Avilo's never going to be able to get air dominance, it feels like.
Right.
Unless somehow, some way, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any kind of way that the upgrades would be favoring him. But even Kozan's upgrades, his ship weapons are at +2.
Right.
And it's just, you know, unless the Thors are able to get a really nice group of volleys, I don't really see that happening, so.
Yeah, I mean, Kozan able to keep some pressure on this 5th base, but he hasn't quite managed to, you know, stop it from mining yet. So, you know, Avilo's still mining comfortably on 5 bases. If he's able to rebuild that army, you know, he could still be dangerous. But Kozan doing a good job of making the most of this air control, getting those Liberators out, continuing to upgrade his ship weapons so that he can continue fighting this way.
Right. So you think it's just a kind of a overtime thing? He's just going to eventually overwhelm? I mean, as
right. I mean, he's got like 3 or 4 more Liberators coming up here. There are a couple Thors, but, you know, with the tanks and libs, I'm not sure they're going to be able to break through. And it looks like Avilo is going to go for it, pulling the SCVs along with the Thors, and he's trying to break through the ground army. It looks like the ground is falling, but Avilo calls GG.
Wow. Jeez. Really, really cool style. Out of, I would say, Avilo with the Banshee. It was kind of experimental and wasn't able to do as much as he wanted it to. Or, I mean, he lost a lot of them after the fact.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
he wasn't able to retain them.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the Banshees were thrown away a little bit more than they could have been. I mean, with that speed, it should be possible to preserve them over a long period of time, but he wasn't really able to do that. So, you know, over time, that investment kind of petered out, and Kozan was able to regain the air control as he had not spent all that money on Banshees.
And he kept the economy. Like, he just played a very solid style there, too.
Right.
He made some really awesome moves as well with the double drop. You know, like, he had one army sliding across the left side and then boost into the natural base. And we looked back at it and said, like, wow, you lost 20 workers. I saw the workers, but I didn't know there were that many that were hanging out there. So,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Kozan, I mean, from a stylistic standpoint, it looked like his plan was to go with the bio and then transition into the air dominance. I mean, I'm not sure how that would have changed if we didn't see the Banshee play, but I feel like it would have probably been somewhat similar because that is one way that bio players deal with mech is that they, you know, they see, okay, you're spending all this gas on tanks and upgrades and all these other things. I'm just going to put almost all my gas into these air units, take the air control, and then use the Liberators with range to push back the tanks.
Yeah.
So that is one way of dealing with mech players.
He definitely was going there, and like the fact that he kept his economy intact, and he did lose a few, but he was always remaking something that we didn't see Avilo doing until later in the game.
Yeah.
And then I think when Avilo realized it was a little bit too late because it's like, you know, now you are able to get that air dominance.
Yeah.
And even though he had 3 starports to start out with, it doesn't matter because your opponent was able to catch up. After it's a transition, so
yeah, and even though Kozan's ground army died several times, he had nothing on the ground. Mech is so hard to punish that with because your army is just slow to move across the map, and you leave yourself vulnerable to flanks or even the Vikings landing. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're a mech player, the best way to deal with that is to just be able to push out before the air dominance can really start to show its advantage.
Yeah.
But that's a really hard thing to know as a mech player because, you know, for example, if you're in a situation where you've invested into 15 Vikings, but your opponent's got 20, you know, you're still going to lose the air battle, and then you won't have as much on the ground, so you're not really winning anywhere.
Anything, you've just wasted so much of almost instead of trying. It's like, it's something as a Zerg player, it's like that too, where you know you're behind and you try to like, I'm going to roach him anyway. It's just like a kind of a numbers game at that point where it's like, doesn't matter how, you know, I guess you could try to get a good concave, but it doesn't really work out, I don't think, as much with Vikings.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing about that is that Avilo didn't have. I don't think he had any information that his opponent was building up those Vikings. I mean, perhaps he saw starports, which should have been enough of a tell that his opponent was going to try to fight the air war. Or maybe Avilo was just constantly building Vikings, and Kozan just had more money. We know that. We know his economy was better.
A bit better.
So maybe that was just enough to allow him to build more Vikings and overwhelm Avilo. Well, in any case, Kozan taking a nice Game 1 victory.
Yeah, really nicely
It
done.
did look like he was in a tough spot at some point, so I could see how it could have gone the other way with a bit of, a few things changing.
I would, I was actually a bit worried when the Banshees, ended up at least taking out the army.
Right, yeah, I mean, he cleared out that push, he had the Hellions
that went in,
yeah.
and that forced Kozan to pick where he wanted to put his attention. And his units, they walked into the tank, and that was what was keeping the Banshees at bay. So once that happened, then he was able to go take so many workers out, but Avilo just couldn't either capitalize directly there, or was already behind in a way that it just kind of evened them out. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a really tough position to be in as a mech player, where you feel like you might have an advantage, but you're not sure what the correct way to capitalize on that advantage is, because the thing about mech, as we've mentioned several times, it's very hard to directly kill your opponent. You can do the Hellion and Banshee harass, but pushing across the map is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So even if you have an advantage, this is one thing that I, like about playing Bio versus mech, is that even if you accidentally walk your army into tanks, for example,
it's
there's still some leeway, because if you've got 80 SCVs, you can afford to remake those units. You know that your mech opponent will probably give you some time to do so. And so what the mech player is really looking to is to max out and
get the
create
best
an army
possible
that you can't
army
kill.
that it's
especially with the Avilo style mech.
Oh yeah. It'll try to get that top tier army that you could put, the best army you can put together. When you go and you buy the Prima strategy guide, and it's this is the ultimate StarCraft 2 army you can make, and it's just I want to make that.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna do my best every game to make that army right now.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's actually kind of interesting is that with the Raven being reworked, I think or at least personally, I'm not really actually sure what the ultimate TVT army composition is, right? I mean, I think some Ravens are still probably good.
Still good to have. Yeah.
Avilo make a few Ravens.
There was some good plays with it too, yeah.
That interference matrix, if you've got a full energy Raven, you can disable 4 units. That's 4 tanks. that's pretty significant.
Pretty crazy.
So if you've got, 3 or 4 Ravens, you can disable an entire army of tanks. But of course, it does only last 6 seconds, so you've got to really capitalize at that moment, or you're not going to get value out of that ability.
Yeah.
So, but then of course, Tank Viking was always a very important core part of that late game army composition. But is it pure Tank Viking? I mean, is that what you want?
Have the most amount of tank.
Yeah.
I
don't really think
it sounds
so.
like there needs to be another piece to it, right?
Right.
So a mix. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, you would know better than me.
Yeah, of course.
I can only theorize, but
I mean, I don't play those
I know,
late game styles
true.
really. I tend to play Bio. I like to be the aggressor. I mean, against Avilo, I don't think I've ever played a game against Avilo where he's taken a 4th base.
It's just
if I screw up, he gets a 3rd.
Okay. Yeah. Because
otherwise, I'm just on top of him for minute 1.
For the most part,
and I mean, that's kind of what Kozan did, where he was sieged by that 3rd, and it delayed Avilo's 3rd for a long time. So that's kind of the approach that I take.
Okay.
And I'd be, going straight up to SCVs with 80 SCVs, with 4 or 5 bases, trying to use medevacs and maybe drop on top of the tanks, or find a way around the turrets. Just find any way to get value out of my units while having a vastly superior economy. So that's one approach. And then Kozan, kind of used that approach for a little while, and then switched into the air approach, which is another one that you see some Bio players take against mech players. I'll be interested to see if Kozan goes with the same approach. I mean, it did work for him in game number 1. I'm not sure. As we said, these players did play before with Avilo triumphing 2-1.
2-1.
So Kozan did win a game. Maybe that was how he won that one game. Maybe he was kind of trying to figure out, what his answer was going to be. And he's fortunate enough to get another shot. We should have game 2. I believe game 2 is going to be on Catalyst. So that's kind of an interesting map.
Oh, no way, really?
No. So we've just been informed by our lovely production staff that we've got more issues with joining the lobby.
I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it.
Hopefully we're going to have that get sorted out a little more quickly than last time. But in the meantime, we've got the crowd. Yeah, can we get a wave going?
I know, right? Is it big enough?
That's no. All right.
It's like a tsunami, but, just wind's blowing everywhere, yo. Hey, you tried, yo. I give you guys an A for effort, though. You guys got it.
Still got a solid crowd here sticking it out
we
through all the lobby issues, through the Avilo games.
Yep.
we've got quite a few people sticking around.
Sticking around, right? I mean, it's pretty awesome. We still have another day of this though too, so that's great.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's Championship Sunday, always awesome. Seeing just who is going to be able to make it. You say, top 8. It's just that one person that you get to focus on until tomorrow. It's like annoying, I bet, sometimes, because it's just like, oh my god, like you can psych yourself out. I know a lot of people be like, great, I'm going to play Neeb tomorrow. Like I might as well just show up and wear a punching bag outfit.
Collect my $80.
Yeah, collect my $80 and just be on my way.
Yep.
But honestly, you can't have that attitude. You gotta like
right.
Because I mean, that's probably the best feeling if you're able to take somebody out that's favorite
for sure.
against you.
I mean, Neeb certainly.
He's pretty good.
Perhaps an unsurmountable obstacle for many of these players here.
Yeah.
But of course, there will be some other underdogs. There will be some other favorites. Massa, mainstay of the North American competitive scene.
Yep.
Jon Snow was a regular at WCS events last year in the round of 32. We've got Probe here, who also, was able to make it out to several of the WCS events last year by means of qualifying through the Oceania qualifier. Excuse me.
I know.
Whatever that region's called.
Somewhere,
the one with Australia.
With the oceans and stuff. Like
yeah.
Australia.
We've got some solid WCS representation, some solid favorites here. We've, of course, by the natural nature of seeding, we've split up the absolute top players a little bit. Actually, though, I will say we have a clash of titans in the round of 16 between Jon Snow and Massa, so that's definitely one I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping we get a cast on that one. Not me personally, but I'm hoping to get to watch that one. Kick back. I'm not sure if our round of 16 is best of 3 or best of 5.
Yeah, I forget too. I forget when we end up starting the best of 5s, whether it is there. I know some tournaments you'll do best of 3 for the 16 and then 5 on, but I'm trying to remember. I think.
I think in the past the round of 16 has been best of 3. I'm not sure if that's changed here this weekend, but. Yeah, regardless, I think we should have best of 5 for both the quarterfinals and semifinals. And best of 7 finals.
For finals, right? That's pretty much been like
the
how
standard.
It's always been.
Right.
So, I mean, I was trying to look at some of these other ones here. Like, I feel like there's no. I don't know, like Cicada Epic. I look at like Tesla Cuddle Bear, Jon Snow Massa, Future Suppy.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Jon Snow versus Massa is really the one that stands out to me.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say, like, when you look at the two players, like in each side, like, there's usually one person that you just know is gonna be able to run over.
I mean, there are some close matches here for sure. I mean, something like Tesla versus Cuddle Bear, I think will be pretty closely contested. I mean, I think Epic would be the favorite over Cicada, but you never really know what form Epic's in. You know, he's one of those players who's real busy with school and other obligations, so he's not able to practice as much. And Cicada, up and coming player, he plays a lot. He definitely could be.
If it's his weekend, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could see him taking out Epic for sure. Same kind of thing with Future versus Suppy. I mean, Suppy, kind of like Epic, he's kind of off and on, doesn't have a ton of time to play, and Future plays a ton, starting to have some great results in online tournaments, take out some absolutely elite players. I mean, he beat Sham at this tournament already, which is, absolutely a phenomenal result.
You feel good
Sham,
about that.
Certainly been more active in the scene than Suppy lately, although Suppy, still has got his pedigree from the old days. And then taking a look at some of the others, we've got Prinef versus Cham, but while Cham is the obvious favorite there, it's one of those matches where if there's anyone going to pull a crazy upset, Prinef is one of those.
Prinef would be the guy, right?
He already took out, he had a big upset already. Suppy.
Suppy, yeah.
Yeah, he took out Suppy already, so certainly having some big results here. And then, of course, at the bottom, we've got Rail versus Raze. That'll be an interesting one. Rail, one of those players we don't see too much.
I think, that's a really cool one.
Absolutely stacked European challenger, etc. That's really hard to break into. But definitely a really solid Protoss player. And then, of course, myself versus Probe.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I know. You said you were looking forward. You never played him before.
Yeah, I never played him. I feel like he's the favorite because I haven't been practicing a ton lately, and he's kind of been really stepping it up lately, going to a lot of international events, been really keeping himself in top form. But I do know, he's had some struggles against Terran in the past. But I'm hoping, I'm going to give it my best shot.
You're up for the challenge. Yep.
We've got our players.
That's why I was like, yeah.
And I
So,
think
yeah.
we're just about ready to get started. Just going to ensure that the players are, in fact, ready with all their settings. Hopefully, okay, we've got Kozan ready.
And waiting on it, guys.
dun,
Live
dun,
in the lobby.
dun.
Commentate in the lobby. Avilo says,
Ready.
RDY.
Oh, man. Here we go. Into game number 2 on Catalyst between Avilo and Kozan. Once
right.
again, this is Cheeseadelphia 6.
That
I
it
am
is.
Vogue Bunny.
And
with
I'm
me is-
Tempo with a 0.
You've got a fan club.
I got a little fan club going on. Dang,
Yeah.
homie. What's up,
Can we have
everybody?
every member
What's
of
up?
the Tempo fan club please give a cheer?
Yeah,
Solid,
can I cheer
solid.
too? Am I allowed to? 'Cause I'm part
Yeah,
of
I
it,
mean,
too.
you I guess, I mean, are you like the president of the Tempo? No, that's not how that works.
That wouldn't
is
work
it?
out, yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe I have an account that is the president that you don't know it's actually me. Maybe
Yeah,
I
you're
created it.
secretly promoting your own fan club. I'm actually you in
Yeah,
disguise
yeah.
promoting your
He's just
fan
like,
club.
"Zzz, you've been cheering for me the whole time. I'll be like,
Solid.
I would have gotten away with it too. All right, so we're gonna go into Catalyst. It is gonna be game number 2 with
And
Kozan.
that sounds like a countdown.
Wow, that was like, was that loud for you too?
A little bit.
Okay, I thought so. That was kind of epic, actually, yo. I'm feeling kind of like, ooh, I got a little nerd chills while I was doing
Yeah.
that, right?
So, to talk a little bit about the map, it is Catalyst. Pretty open and windy map. A lot of paths. A lot of opportunities for flanks, counterattacks, that kind of stuff. It is kind of close distance by ground.
Yeah.
One of the smaller maps we've got in the pool these days.
Yep.
So it should prove to be an interesting matchup. I mean, it's in some ways it's strong for mech. Those closed paths can be really strong for mech. But of course, the number of the paths.
Yeah, you get like
Not
the
quite
center
as
one
strong
as well.
for mech.
All right, well, I guess in the bottom right-hand corner, up by 1, was able to take that last game on Abyssal Reef. Give it up for Kozan from Rival Gaming.
And of the Avilo Nation in the top left-hand corner, we have the Red Terran, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Avilo.
MacGyver. That's him.
The mech god, as
The
some
mech
like
god.
to say.
Do you remember some guy, his name was like Marco the Mech God? Like way back in the
I
day?
don't remember.
Oh, this guy was so funny.
man.
Like, I think he posted on Reddit a
I
bit
missed
too.
out.
Yeah, you did. He was a
Marco.
boss.
Both players
changed
opening
his
up
name.
with that gas first. Looks like both players actually opting for the single gas this time around, so we may see a faster expansion from Avilo to match that of Kozan.
And yeah, I mean, last time we saw Avilo being the one that would have got his factory really, really early, but you know, it ended up so that like Kozan was able to shut him down from taking that third base for too long. So that could have been a huge effect there on this choice by Avilo.
Yeah, we actually... Oh, am I blind?
Oh,
I'm definitely blind. We have a double gas from Kozan.
oh, really?
My
I
bad.
should've looked. Yeah, I was kind of.
My
You're
mini-map
supposed-
eyes...
I believe everything you say. You know, like you're supposed to
not
be
quite
that
so
guy.
sharp.
You're the guy right
We've
now.
got a double gas factory from Kozan.
Okay.
Extremely sorry.
Wow.
And a fast expand from Avilo. So opposite builds from game number 1, where we saw Kozan go for the fast expand and Avilo go for the fast
We're
factory.
flipping it.
I do
Flippity
feel
floop.
like I don't know. I don't watch Avilo play very often, but I feel like when I've played him, he's tended to go for the more conservative builds where he gets some units out before he expands. Because
Right.
he's one of those players who feels very confident in the late game, and he thinks, no matter how I get there, even if it's not the cleanest, even if I'm behind, I want to get to the late game.
Yeah.
And to do that, he tries to delay his expansions a little and play a little more conservative. But this game going for that faster expansion. And Kozan going to be throwing down a proxy starport here, mixing it up a little bit, putting on some hardcore hot aggression.
Yeah. This is gonna be pretty actually. Yeah, this is gonna be
Yeah.
good. A lot of the focus is gonna be here in between the main and the natural for Avilo as he, I think, confirmed. Did he ever confirm that it was a single base play, or was that only the first SCV? And then he
mean,
was fighting with this one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he didn't see the expansion go down, so I think he's got a good idea of what it is.
Right.
Kozan did make a reactor in his main on this barracks and hasn't started using it yet. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. But Avilo, of course, getting out a starport, a couple defensive units. It'll be interesting to see, I mean, if this starport can make an impact. It looked like it's going to be a tech lab for Banshee on that starport.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I assume a Banshee. I don't know why you would proxy Raven. And it is going to be a Banshee with Cloak.
Cool.
So this is a little interesting. I think usually when we see proxy starports, we generally see liberators, just because the problem with proxy Banshee is that your first Banshee will get to your opponent's base before Cloak is finished.
Okay.
And if you go Banshee in your own base, your Cloak finishes around the time your Banshee gets to the opponent's main. So you really have to be careful with this first Banshee, or you're just going to lose the first Banshee before Cloak even finishes. And that's not really the position you want to be in.
No, not at all.
And it actually looks like avilo is also going to be going for Cloak Banshee. So this could get extra spicy real quick here.
So, I mean, they both have the capability, of course, of getting the Ravens out, but of course, Kozan's is going to be able to... Oh, my God. Kozan's is going to be able to finish first, and the repair is so close! Oh,
and
my
it does go
God.
down.
It goes down. Kozan is going to push on through into the natural right now. And there's nothing here, really, for avilo. He only has a Reaper, a Hellion, and a Cyclone. Oh, but a really good here, Hellion.
Yeah. That one Cyclone will be worth its weight in gold to push this back. But in the meantime, the Banshee has moved into the main and is doing significant damage. 3 SCVs have already gone down. Workers all retreating. Avilo has, of course, his own Banshee. But that's not going to be too useful against the Banshee of Kozan.
Nope.
And he does get a lock on, does bring the Banshee down to half health, but it looks like Kozan's Cloak will complete, and I'm not sure if Avilo has another stand available. Cyclone's still pressuring the natural as well.
Yeah, and there was a Reaper inside of the main of Kozan. It didn't get to do too much there. But the fact that the Raven is going to be so late, he's going to have to rely on the... Oh, my God. He tried to rely on the scan.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to lose workers here. Avilo is in a hell of a lot of trouble right now.
Right. Banshee's in both the main and the natural now, picking off SCV after SCV. Kozan, however, hasn't started his natural expansion, it looks like.
Oh, true.
So this is maybe not all in, but definitely trying to get a lot of damage done here.
Oh, so many scans being used and not being able to take out that Banshee.
Right.
But the Raven, he's like, yo, I'm here, guys.
Both Banshees still alive, however, managing to have killed off 14 SCVs. They are going to retreat. It looks like he might bring them home to repair or just use them with the frontal assault. And 3 Cyclones and 2 Banshees do move in, taking out 1 Cyclone very quickly. The Raven has no energy left, not able to assist at all. And Kozan moving on towards the main. Looks like he's going to be going for as much economic damage as possible.
Oh my, I don't think avilo has enough here. The Banshees are still alive. How many kills do you have? 9 kills on the top Banshee, 4 kills on the bottom one. And this Cyclone, even staying alive, taking out some of these workers.
Yeah. Avilo down to just 18 supply.
15 kills and 13 kills and
Oh.
GG!